all young men and maidens, dear mothers, fathers too, I relate to you the history of the Rowan County crew, concerning bloody Rowan and many a heathen bee. Friends, please pay attention, remember how it reads. 'Twas in the month of August, all on election day. John Martin, he was wounded, they say, by Johnny Day. But Martin couldn't believe it, he said it was not so. He said it was Frank Tolliver that struck the fatal blow. Martin had recovered, some months had gone and passed, when in the town of Moorhead these two men did meet at last. Tolliver and a friend or two all through the streets did walk. They seemed to be in trouble, with no one which to talk. They stepped up to Judge Carter's grog shop, they stepped up to the bar, but little did they think, my friends, they'd met their fatal hour. The sting of death was nigh him when Martin came through the door. A few words passed between them concerning the row before. The people got excited, began to leave the room, when a ball from Martin's pistol laid Tolliver in the tomb. His friends soon gathered round him, his wife to weep and wail. Soon Martin was arrested and hurried off to jail. They put him in the jail at Rowan, there to detain a while. In the hands of law and justice to bravely stand his trial. People talked of lynching him, at present it did fail. Soon Martin was removed to the Winchester jail. Someone forged an order, their names I do not know. A plan was soon agreed upon, for Martin they did go. They went and called upon him, he seemed to be in dread. They set a plan to kill me, to the jailer Martin said. They shot and killed Saul Bradley, a sober, innocent man, and left his wife and children to do the best they can. They shot at young Ed Sizemore, although his life was saved. He seemed to shun the drog shop, he was so nigh the grave. They put the handcuffs on him, his heart was in distress, then hurried to the station, pulled up the night express. All along the line she lumbered, just at her usual speed. There were only a few in number to do this dreadful deed. Martin's in the smoking car, accompanied by his wife. They did not want her present when they took her husband's life. When they arrived at Farmer's, they had no time to lose. They stepped up to the engineer and bade him not to move. They stepped up to their prisoner, revolvers in their hands. In death he soon was sinking, he died in iron bands. The death of these two men should never be forgot. Their bodies all pierced and torn by 32 buckshot. I call this as a warning to all young men, beware. Your pistols cause you trouble, on that you may depend. In the bottom of a whiskey glass a lurking devil dwells, burns the breast of those who drinks it and sends their souls to hell. In the bottom of a whiskey glass a lurking devil dwells, burns the breast of those who drinks it and sends their souls to hell. Young ladies, if you'll listen, a sad story I'll relate. It happened in Fort Thomas in the old Kentucky state. 'Twas January the 31st, this dreadful deed was done. By Jackson and by Walling, how cold their blood did run. Little did Pearl Bryan think when she left her home that day, the grip she carried in her hand would hide her head away. She thought it was her lover's hand, she could trust both night and day, although it was her lover's hand that took her life away. Little did Pearl Bryan's parents think when she left her home that day, this darling girl just in her youth would never more return. How sad it would have been to them to have heard Pearl's lonely voice at midnight in that lonely spot where those two boys rejoiced. The driver in the seat is all who knows of Pearl's sad fate, A poor Pearl Bryan away from home in the old Kentucky state. Of her aged parents we all know well what fortune they would give if Pearl was but to them returned, her natural life to live. In came Pearl Bryan's sister, fallen on her knees, pleading to Scott Jackson, oh my sister's head, oh please. Scott Jackson said, a stubborn jaw, not a word would he have said. I'll meet my sister in heaven, where they'll find her missing head. Now, young ladies, all take warning, men are so unjust. It may be your best lover, but you know not whom to trust. Pearl Bryan died away from home upon a lonely spot. Take heed, believe me, girls, don't let this be your lot. Come all you good people if you wanna hear the story of a famous mountaineer. Sidney Allen was a fellow's name. In a courthouse he won his fame. The caller called the jury right at 9:30. Sidney Allen was a prisoner and he was on time. He mounted to the bar with his pistol in his hand, sent Judge Massey to the promised land. Just a moment later and the place was in a roar. The dead and the dying, they were lying on the floor. With a 38 Special, a 38 Colt, Sidney backed that sheriff up again the wall. Now the sheriff's always in a mighty bad place. A mountain man was staring him right in the face. He turned to the window and then he said, in a moment, Lord, and we'll all be dead. Sidney saddled up his pony and away he did ride. His friends and his relatives were riding by his side. They all shook hands and swore they would hang before they'd give up to that Colton gang. Sidney Allen wandered and he traveled all around till he was captured in a western town. Taken to the station with a ball and chain, they put poor Sidney on an eastbound train. They arrived at Sidney's home about 11:41. They met his wife and family and 2 little sons. They all shook hands and knelt down to pray, saying, Lord, don't take our daddy away. The people were all gathered from far and near to see poor Sidney sentenced to the electric chair. But to the great surprise, the judge, he said, he's a-going to the penitentiary instead. Sam Bass was born in Indiana, it was his native home, and at the age of 17 young Sam began to roam. Sam first went out to Texas, a cowboy for to be, a kinder-hearted fellow you seldom ever see. Sam used to deal in race stock, one called the Denton mare. He matched her in scrub races and took her to the fair. Sam used to coin the money and spend it just as free. He always drank good whiskey wherever he might be. Sam left the Collins Ranch in the merry month of May with a herd of Texas cattle, the Black Hills for to see. Sold out in Custer City and then got on a spree, a harder set of cowboys you seldom ever see. On their way back to Texas, they robbed the UP train and then split up in couples and started out again. Joe Collins and his partner were overtaken soon. With all their hard-earned money, they had to meet their doom. Sam made it back to Texas, all right side up with care. Rode into the town of Denton with all his friends to share. Sam's life was short in Texas, 3 robberies did he do. He robbed all the passenger mail and express cars too. Sam met his fate at Round Rock, July the 21st. They pierced poor Sam with rifle balls and emptied out his purse. Poor Sam, he is a corpse now and 6 feet under clay. Jackson's in the bushes trying to get away. Jim had borrowed Sam's good gold and didn't want to pay. The only shot he saw was to give poor Sam away. He sold out Sam and Barnes and left their friends to mourn. Oh, what a scorching Jim will get when Gabriel blows his horn. Oh, yes, he sold out Sam and Barnes and left their friends to mourn. Oh, what a scorching Jim will get when Gabriel blows his horn. Perhaps he's gone to heaven, there's none of us can tell. But if I am right in my surmise, he's gone down the other way. Oh, come all you young people and stand real close around. I'll tell to you a story about a pretty young girl. Her name was Lula Viers. In Oxford she did dwell, a place in old Kentucky, a town you all know well. Oh, come all you young people and stand real close around. I'll tell to you a story how Lula Viers was drowned. She loved a young John Conyers, engaged to be his wife. He ruined her reputation and stole away her life. Poor Lula was persuaded to leave her dear old home, bound the morning train with John Collier for to Rome. They went to Elkhorn City, just 16 miles away, and stayed there at a hotel until the break of day. When the night began to fall, they walked out for a stroll. 'Twas in the month of December, the winds were blowing cold. They stood down by the river, the water's running cold. Johnny Collier said to Lula, in the bottom you must go. Johnny, you can't mean it, oh surely it can't be. How can you be the murderer of a helpless girl like me? She kept humbling and begging, before him she did kneel. But around her neck he tied a piece of railroad steel. He threw her in the river till the bubbles rose around, with the bustle of the sunball, with a sad and mournful sound. John Conyers hurried to the depot, he bound a train for home, he thinking that the murder would never, never be known. Someone sent out a report, his name was Edwin Dinn. They printed it in the paper, and around the world it went. They took her out of the river and carried her to the town, with railroad steel around her neck that weighed about 60 pounds. When the mother got the news, she was sitting in her home. She quickly rose from her chair and ran to the telephone, saying, I will call headquarters, well then I'll go and see if that can be my daughter, but surely it can't be. When the mother got there, described the clothes she wore. When she saw the body, she fainted to the floor. John Conyers was arrested, condemned without a bail. Probably in the electric chair we'll force him off to Hades. It was on a summer's eve when the wind was sighing through the branches of the trees. A train rolled out for Cincinnati on the OCP&B. They'd been switching cars and sending back signals when the engineer took flight. For he was killed at Rarden Station, that's why he never come back. Did he ever come back? No, he never come back. His fate was easy learned. For he was killed at Rarden Station, that's why he never returned. The engineer was poor George Glasgow. He was running number 4. And little he thought when he left Portsmouth that he'd run that train no more. He was running into Rarden Station just 11 minutes late. And when he saw the switch was open, he leapt blindly to his fate. Did he ever come back? No, he never come back. His fate was easy learned. For he was killed at Rarden Station, that's why he never returned. The fireman's name was Little Robert Little. He was kindling up a fire, and when he started to rush through, he was mashed between the cars. He'd been shoveling coal in that fiery furnace. His face, it was all black, for he was killed at Rarden Station. That's why he never come back. Did he ever come back? No, he never come back. His fate was easy learned, for he was killed at Rarden Station. That's why he never returned. Oh, some say he come from Cuba, and some say he come from Spain, but I say he come from a Hard Rock Levee camp, 'cause Steel Driving John Henry was his name. Steel Driving John Henry was his name. When John Henry was a little infant baby, Mama racked him in the pamper hand. It was early one morning that I heard a poor gal cry, he's got a right to be a steel driving man. Right to be a steel driving man. Well, John Henry grew to be a right smart sized boy. He was sitting on his papa's knee. About number 9 tunnel in that C&O road, says it's bound to be the death of me. Bound to be the death of me. Well, they took John Henry to the tunnel. Oh, they put him to head in the drive. Well, the rocks being so high, John Henry being so low, he laid down his hammer and he cried. Laid down his hammer and he cried. John Henry says to his captain, you know I'm nothing but a man, but before I let that steam drill beat me down, I'm gonna die with the hammer in my hand. Die with the hammer in my hand. Well, they put John Henry on the right-hand side, the steam drill on the left. John Henry says, I'll beat that steam drill down if I beat my fool self to death. Beat my fool self to death. John Henry says to his captain, looky yonder what I see. Your drill's done broke and your hose done choked, and you can't drive steel like me. Can't drive steel like me. Well, John Henry had a little woman, and the dress that poor cow wore was red. Well, she started down the track and she never did look back. Going where John Henry fell dead. Going where John Henry fell dead. Come all you young huntsmen that follows the gun, and ever go a-huntin' at the down-settin' sun. I will tell to you a story that happened of late, concerning Molly Bonder, whose beauty was great. Molly Bonder was a-walkin' when a shower came on. Going under a beech tree, the shower to shun. Jimmy Ramsel was a-huntin', a-fowlin' in the dark. When he shot his own true love, he missed not the mark. He ran along to her with his gun in his hand, crying, "Molly, dearest Molly, I've shot Molly Bond." She was the fairest jewel, the joy of my life. I always intended to make her my wife. He ran to his uncle and threw his gun down, crying, "Uncle, dearest uncle, I've shot Molly Bond. Come and go along with me, and for yourself see. Yonder lies her body under the green growin' tree." Out spoke his old uncle with locks all so gray, saying, "Stay at home, Jimmy, don't run away." Saying, "Stay at home, Jimmy, your trial to stand. Perhaps you'll come clear by the laws of this land." On the day of Jimmy's trial, Molly's ghost did appear, saying, "Squire, dearest squire, Jimmy Ramsel come clear. He shot me and he killed me, the fault was my own. With my apron spread around me, he took me for a swan." All the girls in this country, they made themselves glad when they heard of Molly Bonder, her beauty being dead. He said, "Take all from around me, place them in a row. Molly shows through them like a mountain of snow."